not so much about making the shot, it's the belief and the confidence in yourself to take it, which is what, Nick, you've been talking about for a long time, about letting LeBron give the rest of the team the confidence to know they can do it. We welcome in Chris Broussard. Broussard, what'd you make of the final 3 seconds there in Anthony Davis's last shot?
Well, I'm going to combine what LeBron and Frank Vogel said, and I love that he shot it with the confidence of Kobe Bryant. Like, the first thing I love about it is his body language. Even if he had missed it, I like the fact that he took it believing he would make it. There was no hesitancy, nothing like that. Secondly, I love the fact that he shot it over Jokic, who played great defense. You got a 7-footer charging at you. It was good defense. It was just better offense. And thirdly, I like the fact that he bounced back from Jokic literally taking his lunch money 20 seconds earlier when he backed him down and put in the jump, not quite literally, but you know what I mean, but backed him down with the jump hook that looked like it was going to be the go-ahead. He didn't get down. He's a great defensive player, but he didn't let that steal his spirit, and he comes back and hits the shot. I don't want to overstate this, but assuming the Lakers go on to win the championship, which I think they will, we will look back at this shot as the official coming out party for Anthony Davis, when to me, he goes from just being a current great player to an all-time great player. I have said all season long, the big question for the Lakers is, will AD step up and be a go-to guy in the fourth quarter? And I wasn't seeing it for most of the regular season, but in the playoffs, he's been that guy. 64% shooting, 50% from three, 6 points a game in the fourth quarters. And obviously last night he was huge in the fourth quarter. So what this shows is that in the future, people have looked at this as, well, they got 1 year. LeBron's getting older. This is probably their best chance to win it. No, I've always said if AD can improve, become kind of that alpha dog, then they can transition from LeBron being the best player to AD being the best player. LeBron's still great, though, and they can win more championships in the future. So this is the first step, in my view, of that.
You know what that sounded a lot like to me, Broussard? Broussard creaking the door open to join me on the other side of, wait, is 6 rings a real possibility for LeBron Raymond James? I think it very well might be. 4 is locked up. They'll go into next year as the favorites. Yeah. So a couple things quickly here. One is the rough spot for the Nuggets. LeBron has played well for approximately 24 total minutes of the 96 in this series, and they're down 2-0. And unfortunately for the Nuggets, Kawhi, Doc, and the Clippers are not walking through that door, so this series is over. Good night. It was an unbelievable run. But the reason that everyone, Vogel brought it up, AD brought it up, LeBron brought up that shot against Brooklyn is not just because it was in the exact same spot on the court, but also because this is the context as to why the Lakers, even being, so here's the shot against Brooklyn right before the NBA shut down, that why the Lakers, despite being a relatively new unit, that everyone seems to get along so well, that they are so cohesive. Because that is the way LeBron James teams run, Brandon. So LeBron wasn't good yesterday, but in that game against the Nets, the context was they had just beaten the Bucks, they had just beaten the Clippers. LeBron in that game had just missed a layup, and he was trying to catch Giannis in the MVP race that we know matters to him. And so you would have thought against the Nets, LeBron's going to try to take a 3 to hit a game winner and get that MVP narrative rolling. Instead, trust the process. Find the open man. Make the right play. Live with the results. And while it didn't pay immediate dividends that night, I absolutely believe it helped lead to Anthony Davis having the confidence to take this shot and make this shot. So it was a great finish by AD, Brandon, and the series is now officially, unofficially over for the Nuggets.
Well, so, you know, I think Plumlee's watching this show and be like, all right, Jenna didn't mention it. Broussard didn't mention it. Nick Wright didn't mention it. And Brandon didn't mention it. Maybe I can get through the whole segment. We're about 7 minutes in. Get through the segment without mentioning. Wrong, Plumlee. Here comes your old buddy, Kevin Wiles, to crush you. What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? And you can tell me, terrible. Like, oh, maybe he was going to curl. Maybe you're supposed to switch. This is a terrible, terrible play. But, Nick, you mentioned it earlier in the bubble when Taco Fall was on Kyle Lowry, you're like, that's the end of guarding the inbound pass. So if you wanted to take Joker off and put him on AD or put him on LeBron, double one of those two guys. If someone else beats you, fine. If we look at game-winning shots, LeBron's got a ton, Anthony Davis got second. So if Rondo hits a jumper and beats you, like Mike Malone's like, all right, we decided not to guard the inbound pass. That's the way it's going to go. But Plumlee, brutal for you. Anthony Davis, you know it's a bad day, Broussard, when Anthony Davis hits the biggest shot of his life, and then you look on Twitter and the defender is trending. You're like, oh boy, this is not good for me, Broussard.
The one thing I look, the series is over. We know that. And Nick said, I think Nick was saying sweep now. I wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets come back and get a game. They did play well. Obviously, they can go in feeling like they should have won that game. So they may get one, but I do think the Lakers would be wise to get them out of there as soon as possible, because the last thing you want to do is give the Nuggets any life. They win the next game. They're thinking, hey, we really should be up 2-1, and then you got a problem on your hands. So the Lakers need to try to get them swept out of here, or at least go up 3-0 and get the series over with.
Hey, listen, LeBron's 22-0 in series when he's up 2-0. He's obviously undefeated when he's up 3-0 and 3-1. So the series is over. Whether it ends in 4 or 5, we'll see. By the way, the Lakers beat the Nuggets in the bubble on a buzzer beater, and we're trying to get that video for you guys. Plumlee did the exact same thing on the Kuzma buzzer beater. Runs to no one and just starts pointing. Mike Malone's done a great job, but maybe Mason Plumlee isn't your guy at these end-of-game situations. But as far as for the Lakers moving forward, Jenna, I'm a big believer that great players unlock the greatest part of their game after they become a champion. After you have the pressure and the removed of can you ever get it done? Are you clutch? And I say all that to say this. Anthony Davis just hit his first career playoff game winner, and in about 3 weeks he's going to have his first career championship. It is absolutely in play that a guy who's been an MVP candidate since year 3 in the league, we are going to see the very best version that we've ever seen of Anthony Davis next season. Which does speak to, as Brandon mentioned, Broussard mentioned Wilds, I'm not sure why you glossed over it, LeBron's march to not 5, not 6, but maybe 7 rings. He said it once before. You laughed at him. Y'all thought he meant in Miami. Y'all thought he meant in Miami. Maybe he meant overall. Not 4, not 5, not 6. We'll see. We'll just see.
All right, Lakers get the big win over the Nuggets.